Bring in former Mississippi Governor, RNC Chairman Haley Barbour. Governor, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, Maria, thank you for having me.
Well, by the way, how much does something like that cost taxpayers? When you have an investigation going on for 10 months and we still don't have any new information, do we have any idea how much that costs? I'm just curious.
I can't quantify it for the federal government, but it does cost. It also presents the cost of taking FBI agents off other matters, criminal matters, so that those things are not being done, or not being done as well, or not getting as much attention. I don't really think that's what the American people are or should be focused on. Almost unwritten, unsaid in most coverage, though I was glad to hear it here, is that the Deputy Attorney General, Rob Rosenstein, who is a career career Department of Justice attorney, but was appointed a U.S. attorney by the Obama administration. He is the one that studied this not long after he got appointed Deputy Attorney General, and he wrote a memo that said Comey should be fired. I assume, I haven't seen the memo, but I assume it's because Comey usurped the power of the Attorney General when he said that the FBI and he had decided that there would be no prosecution of Hillary Clinton. That's not the police's responsibility or authority. The FBI doesn't have any authority to decide who ought to be prosecuted and not. Their job is to recommend to the Attorney General.
Yeah. And
so that usurpation had to, I mean, the Democrats loved that for a while, then hated it for a while. But this past weekend, every Democrat in the country wanted Comey's hide. And then when Trump fired him, now it's this terrible sin.
Right. And by the way, that's what Congressman Ratcliffe said yesterday here on this program, that you can't wear both hats. Be the prosecutor as well as come up with this idea that, oh, we couldn't find a judge to take it on. Look, there's a lot of discussion this morning about why now. And during my sit-down with President Trump just last month, I asked him about keeping Comey, and I think he gave us a hint into his thinking, and this was in April. Listen to this. Well, people are still wondering, though, they're scratching their heads why so many Obama-era staffers are still here. For example, was it a mistake not to ask Jim Comey to step down from the FBI at the outset of your presidency? Is it too late now to ask him to step down?
No, it's not too late, but, you know, I have confidence in him. We'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be interesting. Don't forget, when Jim Comey came out, he saved Hillary Clinton. People don't realize that. He saved her life because I call it Comey 1. And I joke about it a little bit. When he was reading those charges, she was guilty on every charge. And then he said she was essentially okay.
So, Governor, he was thinking about that in April. Obviously, he was unhappy with what Comey had done, even though he tried to say, oh, I have confidence in him. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, most people would look back at this if they were looking at it with a neutral mind and say Comey should have been fired by President Obama for usurping his Attorney General's authority. Now, the fact is, President Obama probably liked what he did because it helped Hillary Clinton. And the other thing, he didn't want to embarrass his administration because of President Clinton having had this secret meeting with the Attorney General just before this happened. Maybe they thought if she announced it, they weren't going to prosecute Hillary Clinton, that might blow back on them. A lot of people wondered, why didn't Trump, as you said in your interview, why didn't Trump go ahead and get rid of him before he was, as soon as he became president, or say he was going to ask for his resignation?
Yeah, day one.
But I think what I thought was very credible, this has not been something that happened suddenly. There's been an erosion, and that erosion apparently was capped by this Deputy Attorney General. By the way, he got approved by the Senate, confirmed by the Senate, I think 92-6. More than 90 senators voted their confidence in this career Justice Department attorney to be Deputy Attorney General. I think that's kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yep.
Governor, the only issue, the big issue that we've had this morning is just the way that the White House handled this, that the communications team was clearly caught flat-footed, and the narrative within the first 24 hours of Jim Comey's firing did change. That Rod Rosenstein's report on Jim Comey's conduct and his behavior last year, it wasn't the reason that he got fired, but merely it wasn't the trigger. It was just it laid out the reasoning why Comey needed to go, and that did change. And so, what would you tell the Trump White House in managing things like this in the future?
That everything they say is going to be judged from 15 different directions and perspectives, and there's always going to be somebody that said they've changed their story. I thought when the lady press secretary said this has been an erosion, I think that's totally accurate, very credible. But she's being criticized, or the White House is being criticized, for saying it that way when they previously said the Deputy Attorney General's memo. Those two things are very consistent to the normal human being. But if you're from the liberal media elite, everything that has to do with Donald Trump is an invitation to how are we going to attack Trump and try to convince people that he's something wrong with him. It's interesting, in the Washington Post poll a week or two ago, their polling showed, not exactly big fans of Donald Trump, the Washington Post or ABC News, showed that Trump would beat Hillary Clinton by a bigger margin today than he did when he was elected last November.
Wow.
Not because people had left Hillary who were for Hillary, not because of people that had voted for him, but because people who voted for the third-party candidates had moved to Trump. That you wouldn't read that above the 40th paragraph of a story.
Yeah, you make a good point, Governor. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for weighing in this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
Governor Haley Barbour coming up.